One.
Hey people, y'all ready to grow? We're about to get this done. With another woman in your life, conversations with Angie, Harvey will make everything alright. Catch her on D3 Radio. You never want to miss a show. You know, I know, we know. Angie Harvey will make you grow. Conversations with Angie Harvey. Conversations with Angie Harvey. With Angie Harvey, yeah. Y'all remember that dance? All right. Great evening, my people. Welcome to Conversations with Angie Harvey, and I am your host, Angie Harvey. Happy Fat Tuesday. Is that the way you say it? Happy Fat Tuesday? Yeah, we're about to get full and big on knowledge tonight. I thank you all for showing up. I'm so excited about the show tonight. I'm excited because you all are super excited. Is everybody able to hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Somebody press a thumb up. We good? Hello? No? Yes? Good. Okay, good. We good. The topic tonight has brought out some new folks. Yeah, you talk about touching and folks come out the woodwork. I don't mind. I'm okay with that. Today is as good a day as any for us to grow up. Yeah, you've picked a great starter conversation, the love languages. Tonight, I'm going to spark your interest. I'm going to intrigue your mind, and I'm going to stimulate your emotions. That sounded sexual, didn't it? Well, it's a physical touch type of thing, people. I had to get y'all started, right? Right. Well, I'm just speaking the truth as has been told to me by some of the real listeners. My ride or die listeners, those people that show up every other week and now every week. Yeah, to grow up no matter what. I'm telling you, they put off everything just to show up on here. Just like you all. I appreciate that. Yeah. Y'all think we should tell them? They need to know. This is about to be the best hour that you ever spent with another woman in your life, no matter your preference. Right? Right. We're about to do this. I'm so excited. So don't look now, but you see, this is the next week. We've been doing weekly. Right. That's been on purpose, people. Until I finish the love language series, I didn't want you guys to become uninterested and fade off and fade to black and any of those things. I wanted to keep everybody's interest, everybody's attention. And so we're going to do every week until the love language series is complete. Y'all with me? Y'all like that? Right? Yeah. I don't know if this will last beyond the love languages, but it's working for us now, right? Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. That's what I said. So we should let them in on our secret. Right. They're about to grow up, aren't they? Tell them, people. My ride or die people. Y'all in there, tell them. This is about to be off the chain. Boom, boom, boom. Guess what today is? Today is the eve of my birth month. Tomorrow is March 1st. And everybody that knows me and anything about me knows two things. One, I love helping grown folks grow up. Two, I celebrate my birthday the whole month of March. So, hey, don't keep calm. It's my birthday month eve. Whoop, whoop, right? I know y'all excited about it. It's going to be a part March Madness. I'm about to bring a new meaning to March Madness, right? So now is a good time for you to go ahead, share the video. You can go ahead and tell them to listen to Blog Talk Radio. This is via the internet. blogtalkradio.com/E3radio, or they can call in at 646-478. Y'all got that? 646-478-4395. Say it again, Angie. 646-478-4395. That's also the number you have to call in if you want to ask a question. I'm manning my board, so if you have a question, you press 1 and let me know that you're in the queue. I might be able to get to some of the ones that you guys are posting online. If I do, I will respond to it. If not, I always respond once the show is over with. Is that okay? Right, right, right. I don't want y'all to keep this growth to yourself. So throughout the show, go ahead and share it. Why am I asking you to do that? Somebody needs to hear the information and they're not friends with me. Pity on them. But they're friends with you. Yay, yay. And I would want you to share that because you all know far more people collectively than I know. And I think everybody needs to hear this information. This isn't just for us. Don't be stingy, people. Share your growth. They will appreciate it. Somebody listening might very well need to show you some love. You want to be sure that they get it right. That was pretty cool, right? Right. So last week we talked about receiving gifts during our conversations, and we were limited to an hour because the clock was going down. So there were some things I cut short and some things I cut off. And so I wanted to visit at least one of the topics that we didn't cover. It actually seemed to be of great interest on Facebook. And that was the fact that someone's physical presence could be a gift. Right. I want to explain how that works. So let's say you're having a hard day and I get ready to go to work and you sitting on the bed crying. Well, me calling off from work, taking my sick time, vacation time, taking a hit on my off time. Yeah, that's a gift. That's me gifting you my presence instead of me going to work. Another way that can be looked at is if I give up something that I want to do. I want to go to the basketball game, but you need me to stay here because you're not feeling well or because you're nervous or excited about something. And so me giving up my want for something that you need is a gift. So yes, your physical presence can absolutely be a gift to someone who is of receiving gifts. Yes, that was a big topic of conversation on Facebook and we didn't get to that. And so I hope everybody understands that. Meanwhile, I discovered something myself. So as long as I can remember people that do things for me, that give me things, I remember those things forever and a day and I cherish them. I don't think anyone that's ever given me anything tangible that I don't still have. Yes, some of it is 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years old. I keep it all. And as I was doing the research for the show last week, I discovered that I think receiving gifts is my secondary love language. Yeah, I know one of the things that I love about receiving gifts is that people do it for me even though they know that I could do it for myself. That excites me that people would care enough. Remember the tick? It was thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. They know that I could do. There's not much of anything that I couldn't do for myself or buy for myself. But people do for me anyway. No, and I don't have those chips. The chips are gone. Somebody bought me some chips. But I love receiving things from other people because it absolutely lets me know that they care about me and what my needs are and those things. And so I'm not sure whether I didn't want to accept that because of my own thoughts that I had about receiving gifts, even though that's the way I show love is receiving gifts. But anyway, I discovered that. So I figured you guys would, I keep you up on that I was learning some things and growing up myself still. That being said, I need everybody to be clear that our love languages can change, right? Meaning you could start with physical touch and it goes to quality time and it goes to receiving gifts. And you have to gauge that on how those things make you feel when you get them. Now, two big things you need to remember. One, take a survey, take the test again and see if you've changed. But two, please don't go without telling, especially your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, your kids, whoever it is that needs to know. Don't have them guess that, oh, I think she went from physical touch to quality time. That's not for anybody to have to guess. I think we absolutely need to be open and communicative with people about what our love language is, especially if it changes. That's so very important. So you all might be thinking, what is she talking about? Love languages. There's some new people that might not even have a clue. The book is called The 5 Love Languages. And that's where I got a lot of, especially the 5 love languages. The information is mine, but I got the information, the title and the subject from a book written by Gary Chapman, and it's called The 5 Love Languages. It's absolutely Googleable. And so you can Google it. You can take the test yourself. And I think that's very important that everybody do so. And so a lot of the information that you're going to hear tonight it's an offspring of some of what the book talks about. There are 5 basic love languages. There are words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, receiving gifts, and physical touch. And I've decided that this topic is so very important that I'm giving each subject, each love language, its own hour. Yeah, isn't that nice? Like a good parent, individual attention. So again, there's 5 love languages, and tonight last week we talked about receiving gifts. This week we're talking about physical touch. Next week we're talking about quality time. So you definitely don't want to miss that one. The book also talks about our love tank. And to me, the love tank is our emotional place that requires the love language to be filled. And so some people can have a love tank that is half full, that is completely empty, that is overflowing. But your love tank is where all the love that you give somebody is stored. Now, yeah, I'm going to talk about that later. But I need everybody to be clear about a love tank, because I often will say to people, ask your partner where's their love tank. And I think that's something you should do at least once a day, at least once a week. I would say do it once a day. Where's your love tank? Where's your love tank? Where's your love tank? That gives you a gauge to where they are and what they need. So if I say my love tank is half full, or it's at 7 out of 10, that lets you know that there's some things that need to happen to get me to 10. Should a love tank stay on full? I think so. Some people could say, that takes too much. A lot of times it doesn't take a lot of what needs to happen, but it takes that it needs to happen. So somebody could go from 10 to 1 because it hasn't happened at all. And so I think it's important that we all take gauge and say, okay, then where's your love tank? And be clear about where yours is at, right? Yeah, love tank is on full. You guys all showed up tonight, so I'm absolutely happy about that. My love tank is on full. Know that there is a difference between how we receive love. This is just some general information about the love languages. How we receive love and how we give love. And most of the time they're not the same. So just because you're a physical touch person doesn't mean that you show love in the same way. And I want everybody to be clear that the way you take in love and want love from somebody is not necessarily the way that you show love to somebody. And that's important, because some people think that it's supposed to be the same, and it absolutely is not. The other thing I need to be clear about is that everybody has a love language. Every kid, every young adult, every parent, every sibling, every human being has a way that they prefer to be and react positively to love language. Everyone has one. And that being the case, I need everybody to consider during this conversation, not just your partner or your wife or your spouse or your husband or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. I need you to consider your children, your nieces, your nephews, your siblings, your parents, your aunt, your uncle. All of those people need to be considered. I have a client that just this week, she said I think we've kind of figured out that her mother's love language is words of affirmation. And so she's begun to say, thank you, and I appreciate you, and good job, and thanks for that dinner was good, or those types of things. And she has noticed a grave difference in how her and her mother have been interacting. And she said, I can't believe it. I mean, she's just almost a different person. So just know that just like our love tank can be empty, just a few words, a few positive affirmations can also fill the tank up. So just know that your work is not in vain. All right, then let's roll with it, people. What is physical touch? Touch me, feel it. Right, I roll my little black today, so Right. Okay. Anyway, y'all said okay. Stop it. In my mind, physical touch is various human contact that includes hugs, kisses, cuddling, making love, sex, and any and all pleasurable varieties of touching. And we're going to talk about most of those things tonight. So you'll know that it's not just, some people hear physical touch and the first thing they think about is, oh, they're going to want to have sex all the time. Oh, you always have to sex them. Or, oh, they're always going to want to do this. And it's so little is about the sexual intimate part. And the touches don't have to lead to that. And that's what you need to be clear about. Because I think this language, just like receiving gifts, can have there's some myths and there's some misunderstandings around that. And I think just like receiving gifts, your touch has to be thoughtful, it has to be intentional, and it has to be considered. We talked about this last week. I believe that for you just to, okay, here, I touched you. You satisfied? You know, people do that with an attitude like that. It's not about that. Your touch has to be thoughtful, it has to be intentional, and it has to be considerate. You cannot give you can give a touch in vain or out of some other hostile place, but then it's not a good physical touch. And we're going to talk about the difference between a good physical touch and a not so good physical touch. And there's also different dialects. Now, what do I mean by dialects? We're talking about languages. There's different ways that you can touch. And I kind of broke them down into some things that you guys might be, a little bit more privy to. I didn't use big words because I don't know a lot of big words. Different dialects. They include sexual touch, fun-loving touch, intimate touch, foreplay type touch, sensual touch, pleasurable touch, and casual touch. Now let me give you some examples of that. So yeah, I get to touch myself tonight. A sexual touch is something that you want to do that absolutely will lead up to that. So some people are sensitive around their ears. Some people are very sensitive around their mouth, in that if you kiss them a certain way, that type of touch lets them know, hey, it's about to be on and popping. So anything that could lead, or that will let the person that you're touching know that you want to be intimate. So that's considered, in my mind, as sexual touch. Not all touches have to be or need to be sexual, and they do not need to lead to sex. Now, can they? Absolutely. Will the physical person appreciate that? Probably so. But know that that doesn't always have to equal that. I'll go right into the intimate touch. And intimate touches can be anything from caressing someone's face to putting your hands over their lips, you rubbing the back of the head, right? Those types of things, caressing their arms. And when I say intimate, you're touching places that not everybody could or should be touching on your partner. Those things are, in my mind, considered to be intimate touches. You could touch different parts of their body. Yeah, if I start doing that, then you guys will be sharing the video for real. We're not going to do that. Then there's the fun-loving touch, where you kind of, you tap them like, oh, you silly, or, those type of things where it's fun-loving type of touch. Doing something under the table, kind of rubbing on their leg, or having your something so simple as having your feet touch their feet. How many people do that? Like when you're in the bed, or you're at a restaurant or something like that, just having their feet touch your feet is a form of touch. I know you're probably thinking, that's pretty easy. Well, yeah, you'd be surprised. We're going to talk about the variety of reasons people don't speak this language fluently, but there's a reason. There's a foreplay touch, and that's when you want it to happen, and you make it happen. How do you make it happen? You go places that hopefully nobody else is going. Right. So that means you're being a little bit more intimate. You're touching on breasts. You're touching other private parts. You're doing things that excite them. Things that arouse them. That would be a great word to use. Pleasurable touch. That could be anything from a massage to you rubbing their feet to you giving them like a little hand massage, you rubbing on their fingers, you again caressing your face, could be rubbing on your neck, giving your neck rub, that type of thing. Those, in my mind, are pleasurable things that can happen that are also touch, right? Exactly. And then there's casual. So say you pouring them a cup of coffee, and you're just next to them, and you just literally put your hand on their shoulder. Yes, people, that counts. You get credit for that. You're pouring the coffee, and you just casually touch them. You got a bag full of laundry, and you know what? I just discovered, you all are hearing me, but I don't think the people on the that have called in are hearing me. I feel horrible. You guys got me all excited, and I'm not even doing all of my job. Look at there. Casual touch can be anything that you do that is just casual. I could be carrying a load of laundry and bump in front of you and bump into your knee. That too is considered a touch. So all of those things can be considered as physical touch. All of them play a different role in what is being said, what is being communicated. But let me be clear, with a physical touch person, all of them equal. I'm thinking about you. I love you. I miss you. I'm glad you're here. It acknowledges their presence. It does for them what receiving a gift does for those people who are receiving gifts people. And again, those are different forms of touch. So don't say, well, I don't know how to do it. Well, I just gave you some, people. Yes. I also want to be clear of everybody on Facebook that responded to the one question about the little things. And just like receiving gifts, it doesn't have to be gigantic. You don't have to go and create this ambiance with all of this mood going on and, turn off the lights by Teddy Pendergrass and a negligee or little sexy boxers and whatnot. Physical touch can be a lot of little things. Again, like holding hands while you're driving. They have their hand on the gear, putting your hand on top of them. Your hand being on their thigh. That's one of my favorite positions, just having your hand on their thigh while they're driving. Again, just that physical touch. Back rubs, and any little thing under the table. It can be little. The casual, the pleasurable, the accidental, those things. I said accidental because y'all know sometimes you accidentally touch people, and it does make a world of difference. Sitting next to each other, laying in one another's lap, laying between one another's legs. Those things are, again, forms of touching. And all of those things matter. To ask them. Go ahead and ask them. You ask any physical touch person about cuddling, about getting a back rub, about getting a full body massage, about putting your hand in the shower, just rubbing down their back. All of those things matter. I promise you'll get extra credit for that. Right. I need you also to be clear that not all physical touch is equal. So, right, there's some things that just say, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Right? There's some things that say, I love you. So the different touches can mean different things. And so just know that not all touch is the same. What you can't do with a physical touch person say, well, I touched you last night when we was in the bed. That means that your foot accidentally hit their foot. I'm going to need you not to use that one. So not all touch is equal. And again, if it's not thoughtful and intentional and considerate, it's not well received. So just know that there's different forms of touching, and then there's also different ways that that touch it again is not equal. You can't substitute full-on sex for you touching their back. You can't hold their hand in public and then say, well, I touched you yesterday, we were holding hands. Those things, yeah, they're not equal. Don't do that. You'll get in trouble. And if they know you saw this, they'll kind of blame me. You guys would be surprised how many inboxes I get from people saying, you told my partner. Right. So I told you this. So now you know. Physical touch and a secondary love language. Most people who have physical touch as a primary love language also, like most other people, have a secondary language. What I need everybody to be clear about with the physical touch people specifically is that unlike any other love language, physical touch people would almost rather always have physical touch. Their secondary is just that if I have to. It's like, okay, if I have to eat the broccoli to get to the steak, fine. But I want us all to be clear. Don't focus on their secondary love language. You want to focus on their primary being physical touch, right? Because for the most part, it cannot be substituted. That meaning you can't say, well, I did all of the acts of service. I did the laundry. I washed the clothes. I made you dinner. Any of those things. And so that substitutes for physical touch. Yeah, physical touch people are not having that. I'll wear dirty clothes. I'll feed myself. And I will even wash my own car and your car too, if you touch it. So we have to be clear, specifically with physical touch. I want us all to know that I don't want you to focus on their secondary love language and think that you can get credit for meeting or filling their love tank with just that. It has to be that you focus in on that. Let me tell you what physical touch is not. Physical touch people are not sex addicts. They're not freaky deaky people that have to have it all the time. They're not needy, clingy just because they want to touch you. And they do like and can appreciate public displays of affection, whether that's in a crowded room, them coming up to you and coming behind you and touching you. And there's some of us, I say us. There's some of us, there's some of you all that don't necessarily warm up to those types of things, but you need to be clear that we cannot misjudge. We can judge them, but we should not give them some of these negative connotations, because there are people that absolutely have some addictions to sex. But because your partner wants to make love to you, wants to touch you, wants to feel your touch, wants you to initiate sex, any of those things, that's not a good idea that we label them as being a sex addict when they're only trying to seek love from you. They're only trying to get from you what they need to remain, what would be a good word, satisfied in the relationship they're in with you. And so I need everybody that may think along those lines to maybe consider something different. It's not them being needy, clingy. We're going to talk about the difference between an emotional lover and a physical lover as well. But we don't want to call them sex addicts. We don't want to. The worst thing you can say to somebody who's attempting to love you, because that's what my touch is going to mean. That's what your touch is going to mean to me, is that you love me. What you don't want to say to them is, oh, you're so needy, clinky. You always all over me. That's almost like rejection. Not almost like, that's rejection to a physical touch person. So you need to be clear about what your partner is, and be clear about what you can and cannot do and your level of comfort in that area. But what you don't want to do is to alienate somebody you say you love, and that you would do what? Say it. You would do anything for. That's the piece that kind of blows my mind when people say, oh, I would do anything for them. Well, they're looking for a little hand. Right. They're looking for you to touch them, and they need that. And we're going to talk about why people have a challenge with that. And so let's be clear that physical touch is not sex addiction. It is not being too touchy-feely. It is not being needy or clingy. It is simply them attempting to get from you what they need for their love tank to be full. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does make sense. So let's talk about the difference between an emotional lover and a physical lover. When is a good time? For a physical touch person, intimacy, sex, always a good time. It is always a good time. Physical touch people are people that can come right out of an argument and make love. They could be in an argument and have sex. They could not have talked to you all day and go in. Why? Because that to them is an apology. It's a I'm sorry. It's a I love you this much. It's a hold me, touch me. I need to feel you. I need to reconnect with you. It could be so many different things. So we need to be clear that I know there's some people like, oh my goodness, we were in the middle of doing something and all they wanted to do was to hold my hand or touch me and kept rubbing on my leg. I'm not trying to have sex now. I'm upset. Be clear about what they're trying to do. They're trying to connect with you. They're trying to love you. They want you to love them. And so they're very open to that. And again, physical touch people get a bad rap on that end because they can and absolutely do desire and want physical touch sometimes at what other people would consider an inappropriate time, but it's appropriate for them because that's what they need in that moment. Does that make sense? They're usually physical lovers and they depend on emotions. They don't depend on emotions to get started. Meaning physical touch people, yeah, they don't necessarily need a whole lot of foo-foo. Most of them don't need a whole lot of foo-foo. You can wear the negligee or not. You can come in the boxers or not. I just really need you to tend to this. And tend to this meaning not just sex me, but love me, because that's what it is to a physical touch person. Therefore, you could seem inconsiderate. They could seem inconsiderate if they're attempting to engage you, but know that it's not them being inconsiderate. It's them actually attempting to connect with you. It's them attempting to get back from you what they are giving to you, which is that touch, which is that connectedness. I know there's some people that absolutely needed to hear that, and I hope that you believe that you understand that people in those instances are not just trying to, just trying to get it in, just trying to get something done. That's them attempting to connect with you. And again, that touch or that intimacy or that sexual or that pleasurable touch can be an I'm sorry, I apologize. It could be a come here, let me hold you, or you know what, let's not do this, or let's do this. It can mean any of those things. So I'm hoping that everybody can be open enough, especially with the person they say they love, and would do anything for, that they consider that someone's not just trying to take advantage of you or trying to bypass the situation or not do. They're trying to connect with you. They're trying to love you, and they're trying to be loved by you. So you have to give people the benefit of the doubt. And if you're sleeping with somebody, living with somebody, love somebody that you can't give the benefit of the doubt, you need to grow up. Right, I said it. Somebody gonna inbox me about that. Somebody gonna say, yeah, growing up. Anyway, physical touch and long distance relationships. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about that. Physical touch and long distance. Why do I say that doesn't work? Physical touch and long distance doesn't work because physical touch, people need physical touch. They and I don't know that they know that it's as impactful, because when love floods you and you go, oh my goodness, love from the other end of the world. Oh, but he's fine and he's this and she's that, and it works well for the first couple of months until you need somebody to hold your hand, till you need somebody to hold you when you had a bad day at work, till you need somebody to kiss your lips, till you need somebody to rub the back of your head or put the rest of their head on your thigh, or then you need somebody to go up in. Yes, and they're not there. And guess what? In those moments, they feel not loved. Not because you don't love them, but because they're not getting the touch that they need. And I need everybody to be clear about that. I have dated a few people whose love language is physical touch. I remember saying to one person, like, oh my goodness, I don't know that this is going to work. The minute I knew what love languages were, and I was clear about what I could and could not do long distance, 4-hour plane ride, I knew that it would be tough. And let's be clear about something. There are people that are depending on you not to be able to do your job as far as providing a love language, because they specialize in doing that job for you. You get what I'm saying? And it leaves people vulnerable. When you're a physical touch person and you're attempting to do long distance, it leaves you vulnerable, because that means all it takes is for somebody to give you a hug, and you want to hug a little bit longer. Not because you want to cheat, because you want to stray, because you want to do any of those things, but because this is a need that you have. Your love tank could be, empty or so, and it's very, very, very difficult. I'm going to say that you shouldn't do it, because I know enough about the love language to know that physical touch, people have a very difficult time doing long distance. But I'm also going to say that it doesn't work, because if you don't have an immediate plan, to get together, it's going to be challenging at best, especially if you're not open to those hugs and kisses and things coming from somebody else. And most people can say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. They have all intentions, they got all this love and willpower, but it's like trying to run a car on E, and you can't do it. God forbid you all get together on those weekends, because you're only seeing each other once a month, twice a month. You get together on those weekends and you don't have sex for whatever reason, or you don't touch for whatever reason. Oh yeah, that's going to be a problem. You can say you heard it from me. That's going to be Houston and Dallas and Indianapolis and DC and Las Vegas and Seattle. We have a problem. So just know that if you're going to attempt to do a long distance relationship and you're a physical touch person, the first 3 to 6 months, there needs to be some type of plan for you all to physically move to that, where there's a close enough distance for you to be able to get to that person. Keep in mind, people, there are people that live in the house with people that don't get adequate physical touch. If you living in different cities, different countries, and attempting to get that physical touch, it's going to be difficult at best. And your relationship will suffer. It won't be because you don't believe that the person doesn't love you or wouldn't do anything. But the bottom line is they're not there. And there's nothing you can substitute for that. There's not a FaceTime or a Zoom or anything that you can do to love on a physical touch person if you're not physically there. And that's real talk. Yes, my retreat people for a couple weeks ago called me the real, and that's real talk. I want everybody to keep that in mind. Physical touch, folks, speaking physical. Most people that are touchy-feely people usually are doing so because it's what they desire as well. Right. So a lot of physical touch people show love in the physical touch way. And I want everybody to be clear about that, because 9 times out of 10, even if you're not a physical touch person, you would want to know, well, why are they touching me all the time? It's because it's what they desire. And somewhere along the lines, we got to feel that if I show you what I need, you'll do it. So most people then display their love language, what they like, to you in order to get it back. Does that make sense? So just be clear that physical touch people, you can, I mean, if you don't know that about your partner already, you can think about it right now and think to yourself, are they always touching me? Are they always attempting to rub my back or soothe me in that way? 9 times out of 10, that would mean that they too are physical touch people. I want to touch on for just a brief minute about children and physical touch. And yes, children can have a physical touch love language. They absolutely can. And they get that from, I think my niece is a physical touch person. She loves to be up under, want to hug Auntie Angie, give me a hug. Auntie Angie, pick me up. Auntie Angie, hold my hand. Auntie Angie. And I want everybody to be in tune with that, because it's a scientific fact that if babies aren't touched, they can absolutely feel isolated. And we touch babies all the time for the most part. But when they get in the ages of about 4 to 16, when they're able to say, hey, mom, give me a hug, or hey, mom, I love you, or kiss you on the cheek, or whatever, those ages are usually those places where they're still trying to struggle to find themselves. If you know that about your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your sister, your brother, those people, be sure to give them a hug, give them a kiss, do those types of things. Holding a kid's hand who's a physical touch person is the world. And so if you have a niece or nephew that's always trying to grab your hand, don't shake them off. Hold their hand. Definitely don't do that to your partner. Yeah, we're going to talk about this rejection thing too. And here's another thing that I had to find out on my own for myself, but I'm going to give you all the information because I care about you like that. Physical touch people like for you to initiate the touch. They especially like for you to initiate the sex, initiate the intimacy. I know some people who are in stuck situations, because if they want it, they'll come get it. I don't understand why. If you really want it, why you don't? Because to them, you initiating says, I want you. I need you. I want you. I need you. I want you. I need you. That speaks volumes, especially if you ain't giving it up all that often. Right. It's then important, not that I come get it as a physical touch person because we haven't had it, but that you initiate it because we haven't had it. And I know what you're saying, because I thought the same things. Well, Angie, what about me? I need to feel desired. I need to feel wanted. I need to feel appreciated. I need to feel those things. And because physical touch, love making, sex, all of those other things are relationship benefits, it's not just the benefit of a physical touch person. It is also the benefit of the relationship. And so there needs to be some mutual things happening where people are able to give and reciprocate, not in a way that's I started last time, so until you initiate it, you're not going to get any. Oh my goodness, that's rejection, people. And I know you think that you didn't reject them, but you absolutely did. So what you're saying is that I am an open store. Yeah, but you have to open. And they're waiting on, I need, so this is not just their benefit they're seeking now. They're seeking their love language. And I need everybody to be clear. So people who are physical touch people in relationships need extra, because everybody, that's a relationship benefit to have sex and to have intimacy and a touch. Well, with a physical touch person, they need that extra something. And sometimes that extra is initiating the sex. And so people don't stay so stuck on who started what. Again, you're going to be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. And if you'll do anything, then do this. If you'll do anything, you'll do this. Question, I see the question up there, so I'm going to respond to it. What if both partners are physical touch? Then I'm hoping That's a lovely, lovely thing. You all let me know. If you are in a relationship with a physical touch person, your physical touch, I would want to believe that that works out well, where you're both kind of touching all over each other all the time and everybody's getting their feel because they can understand. So understanding physical touch because you got the information from Angie Harvey, or understanding physical touch because you are that physical touch, in my mind, should be or would be two different things, and you could better understand the need for that. I could see maybe being complacent and thinking that it should always come to you, and the other person thinking it should always come to me. You absolutely have to have conversations about that. Absolutely. Physical touch folks in crisis. You can call all day long and say, I'm sorry to hear about your mother. I'm sorry to hear about your job. I hate what you're going through. But with a physical touch person, there's nothing like a hug. There's nothing like being comforted. There's nothing like being able to cuddle in challenging places. And so, again, with a long distance relationship, for example, if I'm across the country and something just happened to one of my kids at school or anything like that, I need this, and you could talk and you can reassure and you can do all of those things, but you need to be clear that those hugs, those kisses on the cheeks, those rubs, those types of things mean the world to people who are physical touch. So when your partner's in crisis, the worst thing you could do is stand across the room and say, what's going on? What's the matter with you? Why are you crying? Did something happen? Ain't nobody got time for that, people. They want you to come over. They want you to hold them. They want you to take their hands. You take those types of things. They do not want you speaking from across the room in a monotone place. They absolutely need you to push up on them in that way. So those are my physical touch people in crisis. Everybody clear about how that works? I need you to be clear. I need you to say that you understand. Do me a favor. Everybody that's listening to me right now, hit your share button. Give the information. Give the folks on your timeline access to the information. I'm not doing this because I need everybody to see this cute face. Did I say that? Yep. I'm doing it because absolutely there are people that could afford to have this information. There's some people that need this information. There's a relationship right now that's on the brink of termination because they don't understand their physical touch partner. Those are the people that I'm trying to reach as well. And I may not be friends with them. You may be friends with them. So go ahead, hit the share button. You do know that I'm going to see who hit the share button, right? Right. My friends should hit the share button. Anyway, go ahead and share that information. Let's talk a little bit about physical touch and cheating, or we'll call it infidelity. So one of the questions that I had on Facebook is that someone who's a physical touch person is not having their needs met is more likely to emotionally stray. And I specifically use the word emotionally stray. People that are physical touch people are usually not going to emotionally stray unless that emotion is going to lead to some sex. You've heard people say, and you've seen on TV shows and things of that nature, when people say, nobody really wants to say, I went out and had this affair, I went out and cheated, I went out and did this thing because my needs were not being met at home. Or they use that and you say that's no excuse. Well, let me be clear about something, people. If this love language, physical touch, is somebody's lifeline, I'm not talking about just somebody's hokey pokey or just a relationship benefit. Again, physical touch people in relationships, this physical touch thing, this sexual thing, this intimate thing is on higher. So it absolutely is imperative that those needs are met. Like any of the needs, if they go unmet, we go looking in other places for them. Now, with a physical touch people, that's a little bit different. It looks a little bit different. I'm a words of affirmation person. I can get words of affirmation from people on Facebook. Angie, good job. Oh, I like what you said today. Guess what? I get pumped up. My love tank gets full from that. No harm, no foul. Receiving gifts, people, they can go to work and somebody say, oh, girl, I saw this and I gave this to you. No harm, no foul. Quality time person, they can go spend quality time with their grandmother, quality time with their kids. No harm, no foul. Physical touch people, right. You don't want nobody touching, feeling, seeing, peeking, getting anything from your physical touch person. In order to have that happen, we got to be on our game, people. We have to be on our game. What did I leave out? Acts of service. You can get acts of service from anybody. I could go on Facebook right now and say, hey, I would love here, my Dallas people who are going to be here in a few weeks. I would love some smooth operator pie from the Pie Emporium in Dallas, Texas. That's where that's acts of service. Well, that could be receiving gifts. It could be whatever. I could go get the acts of service from anybody. No harm, no foul in my relationship. But unfortunately, with physical touch people, for them to seek what they need, the love that they need by the physical touch, for them to get that someplace else is going to be detrimental to your relationship. Why? Because you're going to make it detrimental to your relationship. Guess what? The first thing you're going to say is, I can't believe you could do this. Most people will say, especially if they're yelling, they could say, well, I wasn't getting anything from you. You weren't paying me any attention. You haven't touched me in weeks. I leave in the morning, you don't kiss me. I come home at night, you don't kiss me. I go to bed and you turn over and you go to sleep. All of those things are rejection. I don't love you. You don't desire me. I'm not needed. I'm invisible. Boom. All of those things say that. Let's be clear. You know, that's my favorite line. For a physical touch person not to have their needs met adequately by their partner absolutely increases your chances of having to have the conversation I just had, where you do things, they do things that will lead them to stray. Now, that's not the only reason that people cheat. Some people cheat just because they don't like being with one person. That's a whole different type of conversation. I'm talking about those people who are looking from you. And consider this. Don't think about where you're at now. Think about the last time you were in a relationship and somebody cheated. And think about the last time, if they were physical touch people, the last time you actually touched them. I talked to a couple about two or 3 weeks ago. And it had been over 30 days since her partner casually, pleasurably, intimately, sexually, fun-loving, any of those things. 30 days since she had been touched by her partner. That is deplorable. That is horrible, and it's a horrible way to love on somebody. So you absolutely need to be clear. And I'm stressing this. I didn't do as much of this with the receiving gifts person. And I'm stressing this because, again, it's misunderstood that a physical touch, they always want to do this. And absolutely, it's important that you know where they come from. And I'm hoping that I'm able to, sometimes we're able to get information from other people that we don't take in from our partners. So our partner has said it, but we weren't trying to hear it. Angie Harvey comes on Facebook and says it, and you hear it. And guess what? I bet you in this moment, your partner doesn't care where you got the information from. They only care that you now understand. I'm hoping I'm sparking some knowledge there. There was a couple of questions that were sent to me on Facebook. It seems that I give and give to my partner, who is a receiving gifts person, and she takes that in, but doesn't understand that she constantly ignores my physical touch love language. What do I do? Okay, then let me just tell you what you should do. I'm not going to tell you if you had done it. Have a conversation, and have a candid conversation. Allow them to listen to this recording so that they clearly understand how important physical touch is to you. You drive that home and use their giving and not getting. Because let me be clear about something. Many people will say, oh, my partner loves me unconditionally. Oh, that bullshit. I didn't say it all together. Yeah, unconditional my butt. Things are not unconditional. You best believe if a physical touch person is meeting your love language with receiving gifts, words of affirmation, any of those other, filling your tank, you best believe that it's not unconditional that they're loving you. They want it back. They may not be doing it just to get it back, but how selfish can you be that you can get something from someone and not give? And I understand it. I know what you're going to say, Angie. Go ahead and say it. But you don't understand. We're always arguing. There's some people that have stuff in their filters, and people haven't let go of stuff, and there's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of people in a relationship. If somebody's not taking the high road, y'all both going to play bumper cars on the low road. Right. Come up to the high road. It's a clear exit, and there's no traffic up here. Yeah, usually I'm up here by myself. take the high road. And you don't take the high road for your partner. You take the high road for your relationship. The relationship you said that you wanted. The relationship that you're in because you're in the same house. You made a commitment to one another. And it seems that people get stuck in these places where if I'm not meeting your need, we do tit for tat. You're not sleeping with me, I'm not buying you anything. You're not buying me anything, I'm not going to spend time with you. You're not spending time with me, I'm not taking out the trash. You're not taking out the trash, I'm not sexing you. You're not sexing me, I'm not going to spend. You see how this gets? And if nobody goes the high road, if nobody takes the high road, nobody gets their needs met. That's a very uncomfortable place to be. People then are left so very unhappy. When you said, people, let me get closer. You said you would do anything. You didn't say I'll do some things or I'll do every other thing. You said I will do anything to make you happy. Think about your marriage vows. Think about the commitment you made when you made a decision to say yes to a proposal or yes to moving in or yes to being exclusive. Right, you will do anything. Then you need to be clear. I need you to understand this physical touch. And in order to understand it, I don't necessarily need you to accept it, but know that it is what it is, and there's nothing you can't substitute it with anything. If the person is not having their needs met, there's going to be a problem. If somebody can't take the high road, for the relationship, you both will play bumper cars with the rest of the people that's doing this. And ask me where they're growing. They're growing nowhere. They're growing nowhere. Somebody has to take the high road. Somebody has to give first. Somebody has to do first. And yeah, you might have to do first twice. You might have to do first 4 times. Be clear though. You're not doing it necessarily for that person or in spite of yourself. You're doing it for the benefit of the relationship. I see y'all growing. I see you growing up. I see you. I want to talk a little bit about, again, the physical touch and the relationship benefits. So if you're in a relationship, in a marriage, to have, to hold, to cherish, culture, society has said if you're in a relationship, sex should be had. Intimacy should be had. You should touch one another. That's a basic relationship right. Correct? Right? Okay, yeah. With physical touch people, they're a little bit more. And not more in a bad way. They're not extra in a bad way. But they want their basic relationship rights plus some. And guess what? If you're involved with a physical touch people, that is your job. You now have a job. And so with those people, for you to purposely withhold physical touch from somebody as a form of punishment, of getting your way, to prove a point, to do any of those things, you're not just infringing on their relationship benefits, you're also infringing on their love language, the direct connect they have with you to know that you love them. So it's not just go sleep on the couch. You're telling them, again, you're rejecting them, you're declining them, you're telling them you don't love them. That's what they hear when they hear or don't get what it is they need. So you have basic relationship, right? You have basic relationship benefits, and that includes intimacy and sex and touches and kisses and hugs and all those things. But if you're a physical touch person, you get those benefits plus some, right? If that plus some isn't being met, you're not just proving a point. You're declining, rejecting, disrespecting in some cases your partner. Who wants to sleep next to something or someone who says that they love me, but will roll over without kissing me goodnight? Who won't even reach out and touch me in the nighttime? And guess what makes all of this worse, right? For you, I'm going to say this to people. If you are holding your phone, your grandbaby, your dog, your cat, more than you're holding or touching your partner, you need to grow up. That's getting ready to be a problem if it's not a problem already. Be clear that there's some benefits, and if you cut off the benefits, that's fine. But what you can't do and should not do is cut off the lifeline. And for a physical touch person, that is their lifeline. It's their not lifeline, it's their love line. It's what makes them know that you care. And culturally, again, it says we have basic love rights, and that's some of them, but you're going to have to do extra. Again, that rejection looks like a decline. You not initiating looks like rejection. You ignoring. When you know somebody needs just a hug, or just needs a soft caress, or needs you just to touch their hand, and you purposely, with intention, hurt them, that is rejection, and it's painful. To withhold that on purpose, withhold any of the love languages on purpose, is huge. But I'm going to absolutely say that for a physical touch person, it's yeah. It also allows them room to feel like you don't care, like they're unloved, like literally you don't care. And so those people that stray, that do things that aren't even in their scheme of how they operate in their world, those people absolutely then are people who will find themselves latched up and connected to somebody else just to get that lifeline, if that makes sense. I said we were going to touch on physical abuse, and we have to do that. I know it's come about our time, but we got extra time tonight. Physical touch people and physical abuse. So there's these touches, and then there are these touches. Something that hurts. A slap in the face, a punch, a kick, a nudge, a slam, a stronghold, anything that's abusive. Not only doesn't speak love, but it says just the opposite. So not only are you not touching me the way that I want to be touched, but then you're giving me these things. And so I asked earlier on Facebook that it means that someone who's a physical touch person could be, it could be detrimental for them to be abused. And somebody said, well, Angie, it could be detrimental for any of us to be abused. And you're absolutely right. I will not argue with that. I'm a words of affirmation chick. But yeah, you can't shove me, you can't push me. But for a physical touch person, not only is that abusive, but it also takes away all of what you could want to build with them. So it's harder for a comeback, because many of us have stayed in places that where we've been shoved, where somebody's pushed you, somebody's choked you, somebody's pinned you up against the wall, somebody's punched you in the arm, or whatever those. I'm not talking about ongoing abuse. I'm talking about those things where somebody gets heated and they get mad and they do stuff. Well, for someone who's a physical touch person, you've done just the opposite of what they need. And yes, I believe it to be more detrimental to their love health when that happens. I wanted to bring that up because I know that many people know what it's like to give something and to reject something, but I'm talking about doing the opposite. So doing the opposite of what they need, which is a calm touch, a loving touch, a pleasurable touch, a fun-loving touch. To do just the opposite is absolutely more detrimental. Here are some things that you can do, because that's what some people ask me. Angie, what can I do? Stop telling me all the stuff I shouldn't do. What can I do? Know your partner's love desires. Know that. You need to know that. Have them take the test. You take the test. Come up with new ways to communicate love with them by touching. Right, people. Learn to give a massage. Anybody that has a person who's a physical touch person should learn to give a real massage. Yeah, well, you know where to get it. Know how to reach it. Right there. Right. Be creative. Have there be get a canister or a box or something and have them write down 5 or 10 things that they would love to have happen physically to speak to their language. And once a week, pull something out of there and bam, lay it on them. Right. And it doesn't have to be sexual in nature. It could just be intimate. Some people just want to hold you while they're watching Law and Order. Right. I'm just saying. Be open to that. Be available. And ask. If you don't know whether somebody wants to be touched, ask them. A physical touch person, they would love for you just to know, but they're okay with saying, do you want a hug? Would you like me to hug you? Would you like me to cuddle with you? Do you want me to touch your face? Is it okay if I touch your face? Ask the question, people. You absolutely do not want to be unavailable to them. And limit your rejection. I'm not saying make excuses. limit your rejection. That means sometimes, people, even when you don't want to, you got to show up. Grow up, you got to show up. You got to show up. Limit the amount of time you tell somebody no, or that you ignore them, or that it shouldn't ever be that you leave the house or come in the house and there's not some physical hug. People, we do that with strangers. We do that with strangers. Why would you not do that with your partner? And if things have gotten so intense that your resentment and your laundry basket is so full with all this other stuff that you find yourself not being able to touch your partner, you either need to call Angie Harvey. You need to come to one of Angie Harvey's retreats. You need to definitely check me out on Facebook. Get some help. If things have gotten to a place where you having to touch them makes you cringe, there's a problem. Having them touch you makes you want to gag, there's a problem. And you absolutely need to tend to that, because it doesn't just go away. I'm going to say this, and some people might be a little leery about what I'm about to say, but guess what? Yeah, Gigi, rub their leg while they driving. Right. That's one of my favorites right there. Learn the bare minimum. Right. Learn what you can get away with. So on those nights that you're tired and you don't want to have a sex, or you don't want to be intimate, or you don't want to make love, or you don't want to even halfway touch, find out what the bare minimum is so that you can at least meet that. Because sometimes you do get a little credit for just showing up. Because that's what that is. That's just a show up. So find out if it's where, hey, maybe you might want to have a masturbate next to you and touch you while you're doing that. You don't feel like going full on. You just want a little bit. Right. There's things that you can do. And some people, you'd be surprised how many times your partner doesn't want to engage in full on sex, but they just want a little bit. But you think, oh, I got to go do this. I got to go get in the negligee. We got to turn on the radio. You want to. Sometimes, especially with physical touch people, they just need to get it. They just need to have an O, right? Can y'all believe I said that? I know if my mother's watching, she's like, they need to have an O and do it. And again, this is not just about the O. It's about the intimacy that comes with that. It's about the touch that comes with that. And you need to be clear that learning the bare minimum, at least you're giving something. And then people, we have to learn to initiate. Because now we know that initiating is a part of you showing love. You initiating the physical touch is it matters. I was going to try to make it real fancy, people. It matters. Don't ever assume anything with a physical touch person. Always ask, always get okays for different things. Don't touch places of irritation. There's some people that don't like to be tickled. There are some people that don't like you to touch their eye. One time I licked somebody's eyelid. Some people don't like that. I don't know why. Anyway, some people don't like your tongue in their ear. Some people don't like their finger in their ear. Learn things that are irritating and do not do them. Don't do things that are, don't believe that what type of touches you like is good for your partner to like. Yeah, don't make that assumption. Don't purposely withhold your touch. You would be surprised how many arguments could be resolved by you just putting your hand on their shoulder, by you just giving them a hug, by you just rubbing their hand, by you just playing in their hair. The touch to a physical touch person can calm a savage beast. Hear me when I tell you. Just like a gift, just like words of affirmation, just like acts of service, you do something wrong and clean that house or go get the car cleaned or clean up the garage and those types of things. Oh my goodness, the doors of heaven just opened up. Same thing for a physical touch person. But purposely withholding that touch is going to be don't do it. Don't do it. The other thing, people, don't make sarcastic remarks about their physical touch needs or the reasons you're not meeting them. What am I saying? Y'all know what y'all do. That's why you're not getting none. That's why I didn't kiss you this morning. That's why you can't. That's why I don't touch you. That's why. It's cruel. It's cruel at best. And remember, you said you would do anything. Anything looks like you not being sarcastic, smart, or joking about something that truly matters to your partner. That's not going to go over well. It's not going to go over well. Don't do it. Right? And please keep in mind that physical touch people are capable of feeling unloved, in that even with a roof over their head, even with you feeding them and making them dinner, even with you bringing them a gift. Physical touch, people can still feel. I have had it happen to me. My right hand provided everything but, and was blown away like, what do you mean I don't love you? Right? What are you talking about? I did this. Guess what I didn't do? I didn't touch. And that's what they needed. So you can't substitute people. They can feel unloved. It makes them feel insecure. It makes them feel undesired, unappreciated, and it absolutely disconnects them from you and from the relationship. Right? Go ahead right now and share the button. Y'all know y'all just heard something somebody else need to hear, and I want to make sure they get it. We're about to be out of here. I know it's a little bit over. See, if y'all can give murder, no, I was going to say Murder, She Wrote. What is that murder program? How to Get Away with Murder. If they went an extra 10 minutes, you wouldn't turn from that, would you? Right. Y'all stay here with me. Learning a love language is not your primary love language. And for many people, speaking physical touch may not be your primary love language. The biggest key to that is to communicate. Find out what it is they need. And then you find a way to make it happen. You have to show up. Being in love with somebody, being in relationship with somebody absolutely makes you responsible. It makes you, if you commit to somebody, you pretty much, a relationship, a marriage especially, is you being responsible for another person. You can sprinkle all the spirituality and theology and religion on it that you want, but bottom line is being in a relationship make you responsible for the emotional well-being of yourself and another person. That means that a physical touch person that needs your touch, you're responsible for that. No. Don't turn around. Not them. You're responsible. I love you. Touch me. I miss you. Touch me. I appreciate you. Touch me. Touch. Do you really wanna? Does that say touch it? Do you really wanna? Anyway, there's a bunch of songs with touch. I'm gonna put some of them up after we leave. But communicate. You absolutely have to communicate. And there's some people who are in relationships now that are not communicating effectively. They're not they're not able to communicate some of their truths, some of their real thoughts. But you have to, in this instance, have a real conversation. You have to be able to say how you feel and what you feel. If you make a decision not to speak your truth, you absolutely have to then be responsible for it not being heard and those things that you need not being acted upon. You cannot keep quiet and say they should know. Well, nobody got a degree or was born to read your mind. I promise you. I guarantee it. Yep, they didn't get a degree in you. So you need to communicate with them. There should be nothing that is unsaid. If you think it, if you feel it, if you believe it, you should absolutely speak it. Right? That was good stuff. Wasn't it good stuff? I hope you all have allowed yourself to be open, and not just open to seeing you, but open to considering your partner and even thinking about others who you will have the opportunity and the blessing to be able to show love to. I can assure you that this information, if you use it and you take it in, go ahead, you can be multilingual in no time. Multilingual meaning you speak English and whatever other language you speak, and then you speak the love languages. That is receiving gifts, physical touch, acts of service, quality time, and words of affirmation. Right? 5 love languages. You can speak them all. Tune in. Next week, we're going to be doing quality time. Did you hear me say next week? Y'all not used to that. Y'all gonna get spoiled. I just know it. And you're like, oh, it's been 2 weeks. Do me a favor again. I want you all to share this information. I thank you all for showing up because you didn't have to. You absolutely could have been doing a gazillion other things tonight, but you showed up here tonight. I thank you for that. There's some people that are going to be, I'm hoping this sparks some conversation. I'm hoping some people learn some things tonight. And do me the favor of going on Facebook and sending me, not an inbox, say it out loud. Let's publicly speak about this. Tell me about what you learned, what you got. I got probably a good 20 30 inboxes from the last conversation. I know that you all did get information, but if you let other people know, then other people tune in, right? And they get the information as well, right? The more people that grow up, and then you get to encounter those people, you say, oh, they must know Angie Harvey. They must have heard the conversation, right? Right. And I thank you all again for showing up. I hope that everybody is at least an emotional inch taller than they were when they tuned in just an hour and some change ago. I hope that's true. I appreciate you all. I am out of here. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye.